I do love it when there's breaking political news on a programme, and James, you're going to be interested in this. You probably know this already, I suspect, but Zarah Sultana, the Coventry South MP, who's been suspended from the Labour whip since last September, has just announced that she's resigned from the Labour Party after 14 years as a member. And she said this: Jeremy Corbyn and I will co-lead the founding of a new party with other independent MPs, campaigners and activists across the country. Reaction, James?
Well, that's a very interesting development. He says, slightly stalling for time. But that...
Did you know?
I did not know that was about to be tweeted just now, but that is... if that's true, if what you're reading is correct, then I think that's quite exciting news.
But what implications does it have for the Labour Party? Because if... And I know there have been various discussions. Should the, what I will describe as the hard left, you may have a different description, but should the hard left take over the Green Party, for example? I know that's been a matter of discussion. But this is a very, very interesting development, I think, and it will have major implications for Labour's electability. If this new party takes off in local elections and national elections.
Well, I don't think there's been such a big opening, such a big space in British politics, probably since the formation of the Labour Party, for an alternative. When you see that 12% of people trust political parties, and quite rightly so, and we've had essentially 50 years since Michael mentioned Callaghan going to the IMF, basically from that point onwards, we've had various types of decline. After 14 years of very, very bad decline in a government that's not doing anything. So I think if people on the left can get themselves together in such a way to offer a real alternative, which is about boosting living standards and taking on the condensed power of the super rich so that we can all have some more, I think it could be very successful.
Michael Crick, people like you and I get very excited about the formation of new parties, but they very rarely ever amount to a row of beans in national elections. Now, I think Reform are probably going to change that next time. But what will the challenges be for a new party left of Labour?
Well, the one is money. Reform find it much easier to raise funds because they're on the right and quite a lot of their supporters are quite wealthy. And that quite a few of them flip between the Conservatives and whichever party Farage is winning. So, I can't see... Well, it'd be interesting to see what Unite do about this party. It all depends on... are other MPs going to defect from Labour? Are there some of the other people who were suspended, the 7 MPs who were suspended at the very beginning of this Parliament and government for voting with the SNP on... I forgot what the issue was now. Child benefit, wasn't it? Yeah, and yeah. I suspect not. Some of them might hold on to their seats just through personal votes, in the same way that Corbyn did. I suspect it will just fragment the left vote a little bit more in the same way that the Greens are clearly already doing, and the Lib Dems to an extent.
Kevin?
I'm not perturbed by this news. I thought for some time that she didn't belong in the Labour Party under Keir Starmer, Rachel Reeves, Wes Streeting and others. I think a lot of people find her politics, extreme. They would call it far left. And I think the Labour Party won last year and can win again by putting to the British people a centre-left proposition, one which is doesn't have a problem with speaking up for our country's history, its armed forces, and is strongly and firmly on the centre-left. When sometimes folks characterise Labour as in hock to the mega wealthy, the super rich and the mysterious corporate faceless people in the world, I just don't recognise that. I think business... small businesses employ millions of people. Business is a crucial part to the fabric of our country. And for ages, every time a small number of Labour MPs have opened their mouth, I just thought, I don't think you share a worldview that is similar to many in the Labour Party, and maybe you should go somewhere else, and then we can all get stuck in and have that debate with the electorate, which is a good thing.
Iain, can I just come back on that?
Yeah, just let me make one more point, though. Do you not think, though, that this could become the reform of the left?
I don't think so. No, because I think that a lot of people find, her politics quite extreme.
But you've got if she's co-leader with Corbyn, I mean, he clearly had a significant appeal back in 2017, and Labour nearly won.
Well, he
that
did in 2019, because if you look at the vote,
got more votes than in 2024.
Sorry, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. On the other hand, he's a lot older now.
We've our worst defeats since the 30s because of our parliamentary system, and
but the point I'm making is, you if it could find a leader with Farage-like appeal, but I mean Farage and charisma, but Farage is such a rare person in British politics. But I'd be interested to know what the public think about Corbyn now.
James.
I'm not going to let Kevin get away with the thing about corporate.
I let you get away earlier because I had to listen to your point about corporate vested interest. So I deliberately didn't interrupt you, but go on.
No, and I didn't interrupt you either. I just asked to come back after you finished. And I think we all know, everybody in this studio knows, including yourself, I'm sure, if you run an agency, that it has become far, far easier for corporate lobbyists to gain access to ministers, to advisors, to MPs, that many, many more MPs who have been elected, and Michael, who is the great expert in the backgrounds of new MPs, many come from corporate lobbyist backgrounds. Many of the advisors to the shadow cabinet are from corporate advisors, and we all know that is the case. So to say that it's
I don't recognise that. Just to say,
well,
okay. Hundreds of Labour MPs are doing surgeries week in, week out, and some, many of them are on the far left. They're doing the hard grind of politics week in, week out, and they're very exposed to the public, as they should be.
Yes, but you obviously haven't addressed my point because it's factual and you know it to be correct. But anyway, moving on.
No, it's not.
About Zarah, but Zarah, you claiming to be extreme. Her politics, including the same as Jeremy Corbyn's politics, to support a wealth tax, to have public ownership of water and energy, to put more money into our public services, all of these things are massive supermajority issues. This is where the overwhelming majority of the British public are, the overwhelming majority of people who voted pretty much for any party at the last election. And it's lazy, basically, to say that things that people want, which are basic aspirations. You could say, as the centre-left, that we can provide what you want in a better way, and here's how. But just to write off the aspirations of millions and millions of people as extreme, I think is absurd.
I tell you, OK, I'm not writing those aspirations off, and public ownership of utilities, the heavy sanctions on water bosses that have been brought in recently by the government are things that Labour, under its current leadership, are doing. When I say extreme, I mean when she tweeted recently, "We are all Palestine action," if I've got that term correct. Because we're not. We don't all believe that we should go in and spray paint on our military's aeroplanes. That's what I mean. But I think to most people, those are extreme political positions. She's allowed to hold them, and I think she's probably in a better place if she does leave the Labour Party. I'm not characterising public ownership, utilities and those other things.
So to recap that breaking news this evening, the Labour MP, or actually she had the Labour whip suspended, so she was still a member of the Labour Party, Zarah Sultana. She's actually quit the Labour Party this evening, so she will instead seek to run a newly founded left-wing party, which will also include Jeremy Corbyn. And this comes just one day before the first anniversary of Labour's election victory.